Thank you for this opportunity to share some thoughts with you. I'm going to cover three things tonight. The first is how we accept and celebrate what is good. The second is what makes great, great. And I will also talk about what happens when the world ends. Now, how do these things all relate? The first two seem to have some connection, but what about the third one? I promise they will ultimately link to each other and to you, the architecture, engineering, and construction community, and the Construction Management Association of America, and also to this night. The AC community across every project and program, we all talk about how perfection is the goal. We want to strive for perfection, but what I would suggest to you is that perfection is often the enemy of the good and suppresses greatness. So let's talk about that theme a little bit more and why it matters. But first, maybe we can talk a little bit about that third item, the end of the world. One of my favorite country singers is Tim McGraw. He had the #1 country song in 2004 titled "Live Like You Were Dying," a song about a person who gets diagnosed with cancer and how they reacted. The song's lyrics ask, when you get that kind of news, man, what you do? And he said, I went skydiving. I went Rocky Mountain climbing. I did 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. And he said, someday I hope you get a chance to live like you were dying. The message of the song seems clear. We should try to appreciate our world and treasure it. Now, one of the things I was taught about public speaking is that you should be willing to share something a little bit personal to help the speaker connect with the audience. So as my Aussie wife might say, oh, crikey, I think I'll give it a crock. But there's a twist in my case. It was that I didn't understand that the end of the world was coming. But what happened to me made me appreciate the acceptance and celebration of the good and what creates greatness rather than seeking perfection. All of us have had experiences when we thought our world was ending. The end of a marriage, the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one. All those things can feel like the world is ending. For me, it's something a little more rare and a little more complicated. I was born to a third world, uneducated peasant, prostitute, in a country that was then the world's poorest, according to the United Nations. She courageously tried to raise me, an illegitimate child who was mixed race. I was her living, breathing scarlet letter A. Raising me, walking hand in hand with me in public, immediately branded her a prostitute in Korean society at that time. And in her case, it was true. Korean law held that a child born to a Korean citizen woman, born inside Korean territory, but if a Korean man did not accept that child and claim that child as family, that child was not a Korean citizen. So I was born stateless, a citizen of no nation on the planet. And when I was turning 7 years old, she found out that she could not enroll me in a school because I was not a citizen. I was denied education. I was denied public services. I was denied lawful future employment. Mine was to be a throwaway life with a future of illiteracy, ignorance, poverty, obscurity, and menial labor at the desperate and destitute margins of society. We lived on less than 50 cents a day and often had no food, and often were homeless, sleeping and begging on the streets. I was so malnourished that as a 7-year-old, I'd stopped growing, and I was the size of a small 3-year-old. So out of desperation and love, she chose to place me in an orphanage and make me available for international adoption. Not long after, I walked onto an airplane that was bound for America. And when that airplane door closed, my world ended. I lost my name. I lost my language. I lost every word that I knew. Every food that I had ever had, every human being on the planet that I ever knew, gone. I lost my mother. I lost every person I'd ever loved, who'd ever loved me. Everything and everyone vanished forever. My world truly ended. And when I landed and I walked out of that airplane, there was a whole alien world that I knew nothing about. I knew not a single word. I couldn't speak. I couldn't understand. I could not know. What I did know was that my life and my future were in the hands of complete strangers, strangers who looked nothing like me. And I was a 7-year-old boy who just lost his mother and was all alone and a citizen of no nation on earth. To say that I was terrified does not capture the enormity of what I was feeling inside me. But what I've come to realize is that that world outside that airplane door, America, is phenomenally good. I had the inverse of Tim McGraw's song. I came to cherish a world not because I was about to lose it, but because I had gained it. And this goes back to my first point. America, while phenomenally good, is not perfect. But we tend to focus on how it's not perfect, how the world is not perfect. But I can tell you, our America is damn good. It is so good that it let me, a peasant prostitute's bastard son, who came with no language, adopted into a family that was neither rich nor connected, and raised in a small Minnesota town, that I could end up being here, speaking to you tonight. Our nation is a country of unsurpassed opportunities. I availed myself of a full Navy scholarship and I graduated university. I served as a naval officer. I earned an MBA and succeeded in international corporate banking and corporate finance. Succeeded in the rarefied world of international mergers and acquisitions and landed in the upper senior executive ranks at Fortune 100 companies. I was able to earn a PhD and enter into the important work of higher education. That is what our country allowed me to do. And how does this then connect with tonight and to all of you? It's this. What I want to say is that what makes America good is people like everyone in this room. The AEC community and CMAA represent the heart of what I love most of America. I've been lucky to have had the opportunity to travel all over the world. I have worked and lived in more than a dozen countries. And I can tell you that my story could not have happened in any one of those countries, only in America. Because at our American core is the belief that dreams can and do come true. Throughout our history, to the present, our nation and our fellow Americans have dreamed of a better world, a more perfect union, and striven for and accomplished audacious, hard things. And I would suggest that this room is proof that the AEC community is fueled by this American dream, this willingness to take on the hard jobs and pursue audacious projects. And you are the ones who conceive, design, fund, construct, and manage these physical signatures of our cities and our communities. You create the physical manifestations of the dreams, the hopes, and the needs of our society and our country. Yet everyone here knows that every one of those projects that collectively create the physical built world is not perfect. The funding wasn't perfect, the design wasn't perfect, the programming and the materials, the workmanship weren't perfect. Hell, the weather is never perfect. Yet every one of you can take great pride in the fact that you created things, though not perfect, are damn good. And you have done these things and made these contributions not just for today, but to benefit generations to come. Supposedly somebody pointed out to Napoleon that as proud as he was of his empire, all empires fall. And he was reported to have said something along those lines of, yes, fame and glory are fleeting, but obscurity is forever. I was born into obscurity, and most of us live obscure lives. But everyone here is creating something that will last multiple generations, far beyond ourselves. And that is good. But what I really want to end with is this. The AEC community and CMAA represent and exemplify the beating heart of America. You dream every day of building a better world. You take on the hard jobs. But you do this with exceptional creativity, with exacting standards, and the strongest of values. With compassion, altruism, and generosity, you conduct your actions according to exacting contracts and the rule of law. But you conduct business through human relationships full of compromise and finding common ground. This description of you is the description of America. And if we see the good in each other despite the imperfections, I would suggest that what we create is greatness. For out of the seen, appreciated, and shared goodness comes greatness beyond any one of us. Greatness does not come from perfection. What makes greatness great? It does not require perfection. Perfection is an ideal that we should strive toward, but we should not judge our country, our cities, our communities, our friends, our families on the standard of perfection. Every day we are bringing to life a tangible part of an ever-renewing, ever-evolving world. And that new world, I would suggest to you, is going to be a great one. A world in which our children and their children are going to benefit and thrive. And I think we can all be proud that we were the ones who helped build it. Maybe there is a greatest generation, but I might suggest that maybe they were just good people, swept into the fires of an imperfect world, who nonetheless fought for the imperfect good against the empty promises of a perfect world if only it was filled with their chosen perfect people. But I look around here and I see a generation that is as great as any. For through our combined shared goodness, we are creating greatness. From the heart of someone who lived through the end of the world, I see the good in this room. And tonight, thank you for letting me be part of something that is great.